Hello YouTube, this is Robert Ness816 and today we're going to be doing a full-on restoration video of this disgusting PlayStation. I got this console for free and I figured I'm either going to throw it in the trash or I'm going to see if I can clean it up and make it work again. So this was a freebie as stated before. It actually came with the power wire and the video cable. I have this little pocket knife placed on top of the lid because the lid does not stay closed on its own. And as you can see, the power and reset buttons, if I can get focused there, are stuck down with what appears to be pebbles. So that's something that I'm going to have to address. The inside of this console here is very nasty. And I don't know, I'm on the fence here. It has this weird shit all over it that I'm not sure what it is. And yeah, we're just gonna dive right into this thing here and see what's going on with it. So you can see the bottom of this thing is absolutely disgusting. I'm actually handling this thing with bare hands, which might be a mistake, but you can see all of the dirt that is on there that is actually not dings in the plastic. That is just filth that has accumulated on this thing over the years. From what I don't know, I don't think this console is yellowed. I actually think that there's some type of film or disgusting shit on this thing. I really don't know. Looking at it from the back, it doesn't look any better. I did see some promise in it too though, because if we take off the extension port cover here, you can see that it is actually in very good shape, as is the RF shielding when viewed from the vents. So I think I might actually have a chance in maybe bringing this thing back to some type of working condition. So if I was to see a console like this in a flea market, would I ever pay any amount of money for it? And probably not. Maybe $1. Use it for, you know, parts or whatever if I really needed to. But I would never pay money for something like this. It's just disgusting. I mean, for all I know, that could be someone could have taken a piss on this lid here. For all I know, like, that's gross. So we'll see what color the water turns when I scrub this thing down. We're going to test it out for power. We're going to see if I can take this disgusting piece of crap and turn it into a working console. So stay with me, guys. Alright guys, so we have the console here in the spare room. What I'm going to do here is actually take the top cover off, since the power and open buttons are both jammed down, so it's going to really limit me from seeing if this thing works or not. So we'll go ahead and get that done, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, so the top cover is now off, and the internals of this particular PlayStation are actually in very nice condition. Very dusty and disgusting though. As you can see, there's a bug inside of there, but you know, more or less the dirt and griminess here is really what's going on here. Chances are is that I'm going to assume it might need a new laser, but judging by the condition of everything else, I have a feeling that this console is the condition that it's in because of where it was sitting for an extended period of time. So it's probably in a very disgusting basement or something. Who the hell knows? But yeah, I mean, internally it looks just fine to me. I'm not really seeing anything that looks really really bad or out of place. So let's see if it powers on, and we'll see if it plays a game. Alright, so I have power going to it. I had to clean out the controller ports because there was so much crap in front of them, as you saw before. So we're going to see if the controller ports work and if the memory card slots work. So we're going to power this thing on for the first time in God knows how long. I'm going to go back up to my little Toshiba TV here. Oh, that's a good sign. Look at that. Boot up to the menu. There we go. Look at that shit. Okay, let's see. Does it read everything on my memory card? Nice. appears to be working. Okay, so let's throw a disc in this thing and see what happens, guys. I'm already feeling pretty good about this then. Alright, so I've got a demo disc put in here. Not really a demo disc, but it's Pong. So I'm going to turn the power on. There we go. My hand coordination's lacking. And the safety switch for the lid is right over here. So I'm going to have to stick my toothbrush in there and see if I can get the game to boot up. So let's see what happens here. I'm doing this all one-handed with a DSLR. There you go. So let's see if it works on the old TV. There we go. That's a good sign. Sorry about the shakiness. There we go. So if this thing works, then I am going to clean the shit out of it and see if it's a worthy piece to keep in my collection. So that's good. That's awesome. Audio sounds good. And that's that. So well, I am going to clean up this console and see how nice it looks afterwards. So let's go down to the basement. Okay, so we got the 7501 PlayStation all apart. Not looking too bad actually. I think it's all just cosmetic. Really nothing too serious with it as far as internal, mechanical and electronic wise. It seems to be perfectly fine. What I thought was a heat shield on these PlayStations is actually just RF shielding, because there is a very large gap between the chips and the metal shielding here. So literally everything has a pretty decent gap on it. Not really too sure how well you can see that, but yeah, there's nothing there. It's not designed for heat dissipation in the least. Just some measures I guess Sony felt was necessary to control radio noise. But yeah, so let's get this thing all scrubbed up and we'll see what happens with it. So far I'm feeling pretty positive about this one. Okay, so we're here with the almost final product. You can see how well it actually cleaned up. I don't know what is going on with the yellowing on this console, but it would appear as if something was spilled on it and that preserved the plastic, or maybe it was the other way around, and whatever did not have something spilled on it got yellowed. So this isn't terrible yellowing. I think I'll be able to fix this. But the biggest surprise was the front. I honestly thought all of that shit that was on the front was not going to come off, but it came off very easily. Really satisfied so far with how well this thing's coming out. So we'll see the bottom now, which was the biggest surprise. So you remember in the beginning of the video how disgusting it looked, and now it is, and now it is perfectly fine. Yeah, the only thing I have to say right now is damn did this thing clean up good. So let's take it outside, bleach that shell, and throw it back together. Okay, so we're outside with the PlayStation shell. The rocks are to weigh it down, so I've added bleach to this water, and I'm basically going to leave it out in the sun for a few hours in hopes that the bleached or the yellowed parts of the plastic will match the rest of the shell. So there's really no science behind this. I just kind of add in a lot of bleach to the water and then make sure that the console is just submerged under the water, and cross my fingers and hope for the best. So we'll see how nice this console turns out, and I'm going to move the rocks around obviously so that I get even bleaching throughout the shell. Alright, so compared to when we first started out, it is looking better. I've put rocks actually on the inside of the shell now too, so I don't have to keep worrying about moving them around. Okay guys, so we got the bottom shell here is dried off. All of the components, as you saw before, are all dried off now and cleaned up, dust free, whatever the hell was on it free. And now I'm going to try and clean up the cabling that came with this console. It's pretty gross. Not too bad, but still it could be cleaned up. Funny thing with the original PlayStation is that the cables are actually more useful than the console itself, since all of this stuff will work on the PlayStation 2. And obviously the PlayStation 2 is more desirable than a PS1, since it can also play PS1 and PS2 games, obviously. So there you go. I will clean up these cables now, and the outside is still the outside. The top part of the console is still outside being bleached. These controller ports I was actually able to clean up too. Not really too sure how well you can see them, but they were pretty disgusting before, and I was actually hesitant about plugging my controllers into them. But they cleaned up really well too, so I am going to have myself a really nice, hopefully a really nice 7501 PlayStation console. So not bad for free, although obviously it needed some work, so it wasn't all free as far as my time goes, but hey, it's a fun project. It's definitely worth it for me, at least, because I got to make another YouTube video out of it. And can you even see that? There we go. So 7501. So the bottom of this console is really, really nice, actually. So that's something that I was surprised about, because it was the most dirtiest part of the console. So. Okay, so the PlayStation is reassembled. Basically just waiting on the top shell to finish bleaching out in the sun. This thing cleaned up really, really well, as you can see. Literally everything on this console though has like some type of disgusting residue on it, which is why I think this console is honestly in like a house fire, or just whoever owned it was a fucking slob. But yes, I mean, I'll show you what came off of something as simple as the top part of the CD-ROM drive here. I mean, literally everything on this console has like this black, disgusting residue on it. So, I mean, like, I could keep going here, I could keep cleaning that off, but, you know, it's nasty. Like, I don't get how, even the wires have a disgusting residue on it, so I'm thinking this had to have been in some type of house fire. The bottom of the console was a disgusting color. It wasn't melted or anything, it was just a really nasty color. And, I don't know, it's got me wondering about, you know, the history of this console, like what kind of family or house it came from. I mean, I have tons of tissues where it's just full of disgustingness. So this is really from the extension cords and from the shell, various parts of it when I tried to rub out all the disgustingness here. I mean, this is really just nasty. Like, you can see how it's like yellowed and stuff. Just really gross stuff here. I mean, there's no reason for it to look for it to look like that. I mean, look at this. So gross. Alright guys, so here's what the finished product looks like. It does not even look like the same console. So something that has changed. The open and close button now actually functions. The power button is not stuck anymore. The reset button wasn't stuck either though, but you know, it always helps to clean it all up. The bleaching process that I use is very cheap, as I've mentioned in other videos, and it's also fairly successful. Basically, you buy yourself a gallon of bleach and a bottle of over-the-shelf, or over-the-counter rather, basic peroxide that you can get at any store. There's nothing really special about it. What I find is that the peroxide actually does speed up the bleaching process a little bit. And as far as using bleach, I use probably about a quart of bleach, I want to say. There's no real point in going overboard with it. But yeah, as far as the color matching goes, it's pretty much spot on. I mean, you saw how bleached the or yellowed the open button used to be. Now it's basically a perfect match to the power button and reset. The lid has really cleaned up very nicely. There is a very slight tinge of yellowing that's still present. So basically you can see it where it's like coming from here on an angle, but you can't even notice it that much unless I like actually point it out. But yeah, I mean it cleaned up really well. Totally different console from how it was before, and I'll just give you like the little 360 degree tour of it as I break it, and you can see, I mean, it really cleaned up very, very well for the disgusting piece of junk that it was. There's some stuff here that I have to get off, but I mean, for the most part, this thing is essentially like a brand new console. So there you have it. I mean, hey, a free console is a free console. The video and power wires cleaned up really well too. I'm actually using them right now, and we can see how good the laser and inside of the console cleaned up. So this laser assembly is perfectly fine. The spindle does not make any knocking noises, so that's great. It's really nice and quiet. The laser itself, I took apart all the gears inside and or took out all the gears. Excuse me, I cleaned up all the old grease, removed it all because it's basically dried out at this point, and replaced it with brand new grease. The slides I greased, and it pretty much is like whisper quiet as far as an old PlayStation is concerned. So yeah, I mean, it is basically a very nice, usable, clean console. One that I got for free, and hey, it does what it's supposed to do, and that's all that matters, right? So, thanks for watching, guys. This was a PlayStation restoration from start to finish, and that's that.